Hi. Over the weekend, my wife and son came into his condo and put together this 3D wall of three-dimensional tiles. This is what they look like out of the box. They go up with contact cement. Seemed easy enough. They used a laser level to try and keep the lines straight and get them all squared away. And prior to that, they put together a pattern so that the circles and squiggles would go in the direction they wanted, so they'd have a pattern or design they liked. Now, these were available from texturedsurface.com. Website's a little spartan on information, but they will talk to you on the phone, and that's texturedsurface.com. That's where my son found them. And they weren't too specific on the glues, so we just got a contact cement from Home Depot, and it seems to have worked. At least 24 hours later, they're still up. Now, because of the nature of the surface, we didn't think rolling would work, and we didn't want to do a brush. We thought that would look pretty gunky, so I opted to pick up a Wagner Flexi 590 sprayer. Also have some other uses for it, but this will be the first time I use a sprayer, and we'll see how this goes. The first time with these tiles, first time with a sprayer, and we'll see how the project works out. Okay, I am not going to go through the unpacking of the sprayer. You can find that on other pages, other videos. We'll just see how the project goes. We have our papers up for shrouds so we don't get spray all over the place. I have a respirator on the side, and be back in a minute when I change into my scuzzy clothes. Which, by the way, if you ever wondered what to do with all those old t-shirts you got at weddings, this is the perfect thing. You go painting, who cares if you get them scuzzy? Especially if you're no longer friends. Okay, I'm back. We got our paint loaded up in our sprayer. I added the lubricant to keep it going. I got my respirator. I'm going to drop the drapes in a minute, and we're going to see how this sucker works. And I got my Bas Mitzvah shirt on from a previous friend's bar mitzvah. So, here we go. We're going to give it a try and see what happens.
It is below 10,000. 9,800 troops. Do you think the Taliban
I'm going to change the settings a little bit. So far, so good. And we'll come back when we get a little more done.
Well, as we move up the learning curve, we did our first pass here, and it wasn't perfect. First discovery, if you use some flow control material to dilute it, reduce your power setting. I was going with the assumption that latex, and according to the manual, I should be up around 8. I had to back this down to the minimum settings for because of the flow control material I had added. Next time maybe I won't use it and just go with the straight paint. I had to correct a couple areas, as you can see. I have a couple areas I've wiped down. I'm going to make a second pass in a couple minutes, and we'll see how that works out. And the learning curve continues. Now, this has been a learning curve experience. Okay, the first tank of paint I used the flow control material in and had some issues. Turns out I shouldn't have used the flow control material, so much for the experts at the store. Unfortunately, the manual doesn't tell you not to use it until you get to the problem section. So if you follow the directions, check the adjustments, you don't know not to use it until it's too late. Okay, I learned to control that. Got in, had some problems, corrected the areas. I'm going to be making one more pass here. It's been a learning experience. I like the way it's turning out. Next, if I had to do it over again, I probably would have started with a smaller project, but this wall had to get done, and this was the best way to do it. So far, it's looking good. And we'll see how it finishes up. We should know shortly. I now have a second tank of paint loaded up. No flow control liquid in this stuff, and the coat I first ran with that was very good. We're going to do one more coat and we should be done. Okay, we'll be back in a little bit. Okay, the wall is done. It was a learning project. If I had it to do over, I would have picked something simpler the first time out, but worked out fairly well. Goes to show you can look at the manual and still screw up, since the flow control material was not supposed to be used to start with. Other than that, it's a neat little device. The tiles are great. It looks good, and we'll be putting a border around it to frame it in. We have some touch-up to do from overspray, but nothing major. And there you go. You try it. Good luck. The material's nice. The end of the picture looks good, and certainly adds a dash of color to the entryway and living room area of the house. Very good.